All right. Good morning. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. How's everyone doing? How is everyone doing? What is it, Wednesday? Hump day. Hump day. Morning to everyone again. Bonjour. Buenos dias. Let me look up how to say good morning. Good morning in all languages. German, Guten Morgen. I don't know how to say this. Who's got who's got this one? Who's got this one? Korean, Japanese, Ukrainian. Dobroko Ranku. No idea. No idea. I'll keep it to good morning. Why hump day and not me? Tyler. Yeah. Yesterday, I tried some upside plays yesterday as well. Yeah, that upside pressure just wasn't there yesterday. Hey, man, that's what happens, right? That's you trade your technical levels, and if it doesn't work that day, you move on. You take your losses where you have to, and you move on. So yeah, yesterday a good swing trade on Tesla overnight. That was really the highlight of my day yesterday. Intraday yesterday, I really didn't see anything I loved. Didn't get really anything going. And yeah, that was it. So pretty much a scratch day for me yesterday. We'll see if we get some more action today. But I'm assuming the market's going to be a little bit slow today because of that Nvidia earnings, right? I think the market might just be sort of anticipating that earnings. And you might just not see much. Yesterday was really one of the slower days we've seen in the last few weeks, probably the last 1 or 2 weeks. Yesterday was a pretty choppy day. A little bit of downside slide, but just not really any type of a nice continuation move anywhere. So you might get that again. You might get that again with that NASDAQ or with the overall market sort of anticipating that major earnings tonight, which is Nvidia. Yeah, I'm still in the Costco Sling Shiloh. It's looking really good, actually. That one's probably one of the best. That's one of my better trades that I still have in the portfolio. I'll be in a little bit of a loser this morning on Tesla, but still watching some things there. So a little bit of a mixed bag in the portfolio this morning, but everything's good. All positions are managed. All risk is managed, and that's the most important, right? Like we always say, you have to, you take your trades, you keep that risk manageable. There's going to be winners, there's going to be losers. We keep learning, we keep grinding. So we'll see what happens today. Some decent opportunities on some individual names. I don't see a whole lot that I love. There's two that I'm watching. Apple and Meta look the best to me today for setups. Everything else is sort of maybe that Google 129 is interesting, but it's a little bit slow out there this morning. So we'll see. We'll see if there's anything that's looking good. But yeah, in the back of my head, right? Just a fair warning here. In the back of my head, the market anticipating Nvidia earnings could be something that sort of slows us down here today. So let's make sure we remember that. All right. 8:05. Let's get started. Welcome back, guys. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. And yeah. Here we go. So August 23rd, Wednesday, economic earnings calendar. Let's go ahead and pull up that economic calendar. You are getting closer to that Jackson Hole. It's just a weird name, man. I don't know. I feel weird saying that. Does anyone else feel weird when they say Jackson Hole? I don't know. Just sort of a bizarre name. Jackson Hole. Sounds sort of inappropriate to me. Anyways, I don't know. Maybe I just had a sick mind. So Wednesday today, let's go ahead and pull that up. You guys can see right there. U.S. Services PMI at 9:45. So about 15 minutes into open, we have Manufacturing and Services PMI. We'll see how that sort of sets up. See if there's any volatility there. And then new home sales at 10 o'clock. So 9:45, 10 o'clock. We got a little bit of economic data there this morning. We'll see if there's any moves there. Common name in Colorado area. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, man. So services PMI, manufacturing PMI, 9:45, and then 10 o'clock new home sales. Tomorrow, Jackson Hole Summit starts for the Fed presidents, Fed officials. That's 10 a.m. Jobless claims. That's your normal jobless claims. And then Powell giving his opening speech. So Friday, you might see a little bit of action here. On Friday around 10 o'clock. So that is something to watch out for at the end of this week. Anyone want an Infinity? There you go. You got a little ad there for Infinity. Thank you, Infinity, for sponsoring the stream. I wish that was true. All right, so let's continue. Earnings, the big boy today, big boy, right? Probably one of the biggest, most anticipated stock on the market, really, in the last few years, right? Nvidia has become one of the most popular stocks probably in the last year or two. Nvidia, right? Semiconductors, there it is, right? That's today. After hours, we shall see how that affects the market. That will affect the market. So we will definitely see some NASDAQ movement after hours today due to that Nvidia earnings, I would assume, right? Depending on how they do. Snowflake as well. That's another decent one to watch. And then that's really the end of the week on earnings. Then you got Ulta really, and then that's, sort of everything else is sort of just small cap stuff. But Nvidia earnings tonight, guys, that's big stuff. You have to understand the high IV on Nvidia. Nvidia yesterday, the implied volatility in options yesterday, which is going to be higher today probably, it's 130% yesterday. 130% implied volatility on Nvidia contracts. That is no joke. All right? That's like a GME AMC implied volatility. That's on Nvidia. Those contracts are expensive. Okay? So be careful there. Nvidia expected move right now is $45, so it is 10%. So 10%, it's expected to move 10%. So please understand this. If you go out there and say, I'm going to gamble a little bit, Nvidia needs to open either, right? If you're playing the call side today, if you're gonna YOLO some calls today, Nvidia needs to, as of right now, open above 500, or it needs to open below 420. Really, was it 45 or was it 40? It was 45, right? So from current market price, you need to open above 505, right, or below 415 for calls or puts to appreciate, okay? So if Nvidia moves in this zone right here, nothing happens on your contracts. You get crushed by IV, okay? Understand that, right? So if you trade something overnight and you think you're going to gamble into Nvidia earnings, even if it does this, right, you still lose on calls. Even if it does this, you still lose on puts. Okay, it needs to break below this line here, and it needs to break above this line here. That is a huge, huge move. Not saying Nvidia can't do it. It is possible, but they are pricing in a lot here. So just understand that before you go ahead and YOLO some Nvidia calls or puts. Just please understand that. All right. 167 IV now. Yeah, that's huge, man. That's a huge implied volatility. That's like that's nasty stuff. I'd be careful on that, guys. Please just be smart. Be smart. All right. Let's continue. So yesterday, I held a little bit more Tesla overnight. This morning, a little bit of downside on Tesla. I'll sort of break down my game plan there and how I'm managing that position. We'll be down a little bit this morning, so we'll see. I was up 100% yesterday. I added a little bit of it on the lows yesterday. So I think I'll net still be profitable on this position, but today I'll take a little bit of a hit there. I'll show you guys how I'm going to manage that swing trade there. Apple 177, definitely something I'm watching today. We were able to break back above 177 yesterday and into this morning. So if Apple can maintain that 177, I'm going to be watching that for a potential upside trade. I'll sort of break that down. NVIDIA, AMD, we'll just sort of look at it, give you guys a general idea of where we're trading. Obviously, you're going to get movement on pretty much all the semiconductors after NVIDIA earnings tonight. So you're going to see probably moves on AMD. You're going to see moves on Qualcomm. You're going to see moves on maybe SMCI. You're going to see moves on all the semis. SMCI, right? Is that? Yeah. So all those semiconductor stocks, there's more that I'm not naming, but, all the semiconductor stocks will likely see some kind of volatility after Nvidia earnings tonight. Meta 290, something I'm watching today for potential rejections. Google traded that yesterday off 129. That was a really nice scalp early morning yesterday. I'll be watching that 129 again. Netflix broke over 412, so I'm fully out of this position for a net small gain. It was nothing. TSM as well. Nothing that Netflix didn't break down the way I would have wanted it to. Been scaling out of that thing and then finally got out of my whole position yesterday. And then finally, Costco. Still in a Costco swing trade for looking for downside, and looks pretty good for now. And I'll break down, some updates on that. So that's the schedule. Let's get started. I got my coffee in a red cup today. Cheers. All right, Red Cup Coffee. That should be a name. We should start a coffee company. NASDAQ. So, NASDAQ is very stuck under this downtrend. This downtrend has been very, very respected here on the NASDAQ futures. So you guys can see here, since Friday, it really goes back to like this Wednesday, but let's just call it from this Friday, the 4th of August, right? We have been stuck under this downtrend since, right? Every attempt at this downtrend has been rejected, right? Rejection, 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 and rejection. So that's interesting, right? And if we need to see, right, as long as we're under that downtrend, we got to understand that there could be weakness. If we break that downtrend at any point, right, that's something we want to be monitoring. So keep that downtrend on your screen, right? That thing is definitely being respected. Pre-market yesterday, it rejected. Pre-market today, it rejected as well. So that overall downtrend, very, very important here. Now, if we go into the 15-minute chart, right, I don't think, as of yet, right? Excuse me. As of yet this morning, I think you are still in a consolidation move because here's why. You are still holding this 14,930. This 14,930, I think, is your line in the sand today. Okay, this is where this thing either breaks down for further downside or the NASDAQ can maintain itself. Why is that? That is because, right, if we look at this chart, we have a high on Monday, right? Remember that morning high on Monday where we rejected and then we were able to get back above? That is right here at 14,930, right? You guys can see right here, 14,930. You have some of these lows from this Wednesday into Thursday, 14,930, which ended up causing a rejection. And now yesterday, right, just yesterday, you can see, look at all those wick bounces off that 14,930. So if I go to the 5-minute chart here and we look sort of day over day, right, as long as this NASDAQ is under or above 14,930, I think you are still sort of maintaining yourself here. If you are to break under this 14,930, right, this is where I'd be interested in a short side trade today. If you see a break under this 14,930, there is not much support here to the left. And here's why, right? If you look to the left here, between 14,930 and 14,800, it's about 130 points on the NASDAQ. Look at the moves that were made in between that zone, right? Look at the moves that were made in between this zone. Look how free this zone is, right? This zone just sort of moves right through. It's like a floodgate. The floodgate's open, whether it's to the upside or to the downside in this zone. This is like the low volume area here between this zone right here, right? You guys can see, look at the moves that were made. Look at the behavior of price action between these zones in the past. Straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down, right? No, not anything slow in here. This is like the highway, right? You enter here, you're going off the local street, you're getting into the highway here, right? So if the NASDAQ does break this level, right, I think there's a juicy downside opportunity under that 14,930, right? I think there is a juicy opportunity to the downside under that 14,930. Now, I'm not sure whether you're going to get that today, but that is something that I would be paying attention to. If we go to volume profile, yeah, you can see, right? It sort of it weakens down here. You're getting consolidation up here, volumes increasing up here. Under there, you can see that clear sort of decline in volume. That is why you're seeing that sort of, that type of price action in that zone. That's the Autobahn. Now, this morning, right, what's sort of that key upside level to be paying attention to? It is still that same 15,000, 15,016. That has not changed for me. That is still the same level on my chart since all week, right? All week, this level's been on my chart. Why, right? Right here, Thursday highs. Right here, Monday highs. Yesterday, this rejection, right? These rejections late day under that level. You can see we are back under that level, and look at the reaction this morning of breaking that level, right? After we broke that level this morning, look at that quick flush. So you have to be, right, to long this market today, you have to be above this 15, 16, but you also need to be watching out for this downtrend. So it's a little bit tough up there, right? If you're looking for a short today, you could maybe look for this little bear flag this morning into this 15, 16, and then maybe a move back down into that 14,930, right? So this is a really tight range today. This is what sort of makes me a little bit cautious of the possible moves today due to the NASDAQ action and because of Nvidia earnings, right? So I'm a little bit concerned that you just sort of see a pretty slow day, mostly between this zone, between 15,016 and maybe 14,930, right? That's the area where sort of like this action yesterday right here, this late day action on the NASDAQ in between. This is pretty much between 11:30 and close, right? So almost 5 hours yesterday, 4 or 5 hours, you just sat in this zone all day, right? So if we see this same type of chop between 15.16 and this 14.930, right, it's not going to be one of the best days to trade, right? It's not going to be one of the best days to trade. So just be aware of that, right? Watch this red zone above 15,000, 15.16 on NASDAQ, and then watch that 14.930. I think the best trade out there, right, the best trade out there today is a break and hold under 14,930 for downside, right? This is your best trade of the day. If you can get that move to actually occur on a day like today, that's going to be your best move of the day, if we can get that. We'll see if we can get it right now. A little bit of a potential bear flag here as we speak, right? A little bit of a bear flag forming here into supply on the NASDAQ. So let's see what happens. That 15,000, 15,016 supply, little bit of a sort of slow volume slide into it. Does this cause maybe a little bit of a rejection play this morning back into demand? That's something I'd be watching in the short term here on the NASDAQ. So 15,016, 14,930 on the NQ futures, guys. It's and then of course, just remember, right? If you do long anything today, just remember, if you're longing anything under this downtrend, it still looks like it has a tendency to reject, right? The tendency here is still to reject that downtrend, which it has done both yesterday and today's pre-market. All right. QQQ, very, very clear level that needs to hold today, or we will get downside continuation, right? That 14,930 level that I just talked about, what is that on the QQQ? That is very clearly 363, right? You guys can see that right here on your screen. 363, 363, 363, right? And this 363 rejection on Monday. 363 on the QQQ, that is your most important level today. If you break under 363, if you turn it into rejections, right, then you are looking for that aggressive downside, right, in between this zone that we talked about on the NASDAQ futures, possibly down into 359. That's if you can break and hold below that 363 today. Now, you can't get into that trade, right, before you actually see that break. And the reason why is because if you move down into this level today, right, and you start shorting here before it actually breaks, you are exposing yourself to this, right? This happened from pretty much middle of the day yesterday until close. The whole half of the day, the second half of the day, We just did this dance, and that you just do not want to be a part of on the QQQ yesterday, all second part of the day yesterday. So if you start shorting here, right, you're going to expose yourself to the dance. Depends if you feel like dancing today or not, right? So just be cautious of that 363. I would want to see this very clearly break and reject, right? And then you can get that continuation move. Before that, you just got to be careful of it doing the dance here around 363. Supply is very clear above at 367. What's the percent chance, right? If we were to put a percent chance on the QQQ trading between this zone today, I would say it's a little bit higher today than normal, right? Just because of that Nvidia earnings and sort of that anticipation of it. I would say there is definitely a percent chance that the QQQ just trades within 367 and 363 today. And if it does, right? And if it does, just sort of think about this long term. Think about the whole picture here, right? If you trade between this zone all day today and you sort of think big picture, I don't think you're going to look back at the day and say, damn, I missed out on a lot of opportunities, right? I don't think that idea is going to pop into your head. If we look back at today and we trade between this 4-point zone all day, right? I don't think you're going to look back and say, shit, I missed a lot of opportunities today. So just be careful, right? Be careful. 363, 367, watch that zone. You'd probably want to get some kind of a break of that zone today for some real nice moves. If we stay within it, possibly a little bit of slow action. ES, 4410 looks to be pretty important here today. 4410, that is that previous supply level that Mo, if you play NVIDIA earnings, you are gambling, and I wish you the best of luck. That's all I have to say. Okay? 4410 on the ES looks to be a very important level today. Previous lows, right? Previous lows, right there, right there. Previous highs, previous pre-market lows, and look at what we are sort of rejecting on the ES this morning. 44.010. That's absolutely right. 44.010. That is probably your level to watch today, right? And what you can see here just day over day, right? Look at how clear this is day over day. Look at the little flips that we have seen here between this level, right? You can see yesterday, double top rejection, right? Intraday, 44.10, 44.010. Pre-market this morning, after hours last night, look at the hold above 44.010, right? And then look at how we got back under 44.010, right? And we started to reject 44.10, right? So this level has flipped 3 times in, oh, there it is. There's your bear flag. There it is. Bear flag, 44.010, bam. Very nice. That probably happened on the NASDAQ as well. Bear flag. Nice little futures trade there. Congrats if you caught that. Yeah. So that looks to be very important today, right? Look at that little bear flag that just formed there at 44.10. So that is your level. Previous rejections from yesterday, and look at how it's rejecting right here in the pre-market. You do not want to long anything, right? If this ES is stuck under 44.10. Very, very clear. If this is stuck under 44.10, you are going to see weakness here and probably continuation down towards yesterday's lows, down towards this 43.90 demand. All right? So, very nice ES downside rejection, 44.10. That's your level. You do not want to be long into that level. There's very clear rejections there. You need to be above that level for any type of chance to the upside. All right? Any type of chance to the upside, you need to reclaim 44.10 on the ES. Okay? That's very apparent here. Very clear. You have to trust that. Right? And you can see it's not just a short-term level. This has been a previous support back here, previous support here, rejections, double top rejections, just rejected again. Very clear level. Now, demand definitely does step up right around this 43.94, 43.90 area. It's sort of a zone here. It's like this zone right here, right? You can see you have previous highs, you have previous highs, you have a hold here, you have some holds from yesterday. So you have to still be careful, right? This isn't like this might not be just, a short and just hold forever type of move. You do need to be careful. If you are short the ES right now, let's say in a futures trade, just be a little bit cautious of previous day lows, right? Previous day lows are right here on that 43.94. 43.94 to 43.90 is definitely a zone that you could see, a little bit of a hold today. So be careful of that zone today, 43.90 to 43.94. That is your demand zone below. Okay? So, very clear this morning. 44.10, very clear rejection. That's coming in as we speak. 43.90, 43.94 demand. If you break 43.90, then you probably get your continuation to this 43.75 down here. Okay? SPY, yeah, and so the SPY was that same level. It's the 439, right? Right there. Look how clean that is. 439, that was very clean. What just happened on the ES. Very, very clean. So, why 439? Very clear, right? 439, 439, 439, 439 rejections right here. Rejections right here. Rejections yesterday. And look at what just happened on the 5-minute chart. Bear flag right into 439. Beautiful. So, what level are you watching today on the SPY? Right? What's the level that keeps us weak? That if we stay under, we stay weak? That is 439. Okay? That's your level. Downside levels to watch. Demand steps in probably at yesterday's lows, this previous high. That's around this 437.50. Put a line there. 437.50, previous highs, previous hold, and then yesterday, low a day. All right? So, 439 supply, 437.50 demand, right? If you break below 437.50, you move into that 435 low, right? If you get back above 439 today, you probably have a chance of more upside. As long as you're under 439, SPY stays weak. Just be careful, right? If you are short the SPY and you're short the ES, you still need to be cautious of the previous day lows, right? Previous day lows can still hold here. So be careful of that. All right. Dow Jones, Daniel Jones, go Giants. God, I'm in for another painful year, I'm assuming. But whatever, it is what it is. Here's your little triple bottom on the Dow Jones, it looks like. Around this 34.3, 34.320. You guys can see right here. Low, a low, a low. And you're at it again today. So watch that triple bottom on the Dow. That supply above looks real tough. That 34.6 that we talked about. This thing's just sort of sliding. If you break under this triple bottom today on the Dow, you'll... What the hell? It's like is there possible that there's... I guess maybe it's the dog above my apartment? Damn. That was weird. Anyways, previous triple bottom lows. Watch that on the Dow. If we break below that triple bottom, then obviously you can get a little bit of pressure to the downside, right? So triple bottom on the Dow, that's your major watch there. Russell, it's doing nothing, man. It's doing nothing. A whole bunch of nothing here. It looks like you got some demand lows around that 1850. And you got some supply highs around that 200 SMA. The Russell's been doing absolutely nothing. So I got nothing for you there. 1850. A squirrel on the 60th floor? I sure hope not. I don't know how the hell he got up here. All right. So, yeah, I mean, NASDAQ still sort of holding there. We'll see. We'll see. You got your levels, right? You got your levels here. This is no trade zone, man. This is no trade zone for me. I think I'm gonna try my best today, right? Because I still find setups that I like on individual names, but I'm gonna try my best today to really avoid, if we see this action here again today, I'm going to be real cautious on the trades that I take. Maybe scale down if I like anything. Just understand that the NASDAQ just really isn't getting anywhere, not giving us any real moves. Tesla. All right, so looks like Tesla had a very nice break and retest rejection of that 240. That was very clear, right? You guys can see right here. You had the previous lows, right? You moved up into it. We longed it overnight yesterday, took some profits near open. But then the downside rejection was a nice play, which I missed. Very nice 240 rejection play there of that previous supply. And today, right? Today, here's what I'm watching. So 230 is a major level on Tesla. If you move higher today, right? If you see a little bounce here today and you get a rejection of 230, this could be a great re-entry short. All right. So I would watch to see if these highs, if Monday's highs, and if yesterday's lows turns into a rejection, right? If that happens, this could be a great re-entry short on Tesla. You guys can see that right here on the 15-minute chart. You have Monday highs, you have Tuesday lows, right? And if you get a little bear flag into it today, watch for that rejection play. So keep an eye out for that 230 level today. Now, if you get back over 230 and you turn it back into support, then Tesla does have a chance to push back to the upside, okay? Tesla gapped down this morning. This is a gap down, right? And yesterday when we gapped up, we filled the gap. Is there a chance that Tesla fills its downside gap? There is, right? Obviously, depending on NASDAQ strength and seeing how that works out. But that only happens if you hold over 230. So today, I think 230 is your main level to watch. You either look for a rejection play off that level, or you look for that to maintain and push back to the upside. Demand below steps in around this 225 area right here. 225, 225. That's sort of where that demand steps up. So be careful of being short into that 225. All right. So watch 225. That's your downside demand. Watch 230. I like the potential. If there's a little bear flag here today into that 230, right? I like the potential for a little bit of this action right here. One of these, one of those right there. I like that, right? If we can see one of those, I'm definitely game for a little short side setup off that that 230. So that's definitely a watch for me today. But I needed to, right? We talked about this yesterday. I think we talked about it yesterday in the stream. We needed to get up here, right? We need the actual price of the stock to be up in this zone, right? We can't just take a bear flag setup here, right? If you open the trade at open and it's right here, then you're sitting through potentially, $3 of drawdown before it actually works out. So if you want to take that trade, if that's your idea, right, you need to wait for that to actually set up. And for that to set up, you got to stay patient. You got to stay patient and wait for that thing to potentially crawl up towards 230. So we'll see. But that's what I'm going to be watching today. Apple, 177. Big reclaim here on Apple. I'm not going to lie. I'm interested in this because I know, right, Apple's Apple, right? At the end of the day, Apple is Apple. And I'm still thinking, right? I'm still thinking that there is going to be some type of a recovery after this pretty much knife to the downside, right? This is a pretty aggressive move for Apple. This was a 12% drop on Apple. There's probably going to be a recovery at some point here, depending on, what the NASDAQ looks like. And if there's any relief here, I'm interested to try to play that upside. You sort of pulled back to this important 170 demand. It was that 38.2 fib that you guys the fib boys were pointing out. But if we go to the 30-minute chart here, right, here's what I'm watching. There's a very clear level to play this off of, and it's 177, right? So you can see here on Apple, we had previous demand very strong step up at this 177. 1, 2, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, right? And it was not until we actually rejected that level that we got the downside. All right, so now today, look where we're at. We're right above that demand again. So if we sort of hold, if I start seeing some holds step up here, right? If I start seeing Apple defend this level and there's some NASDAQ strength out there, I think there's a very good chance that Apple tries to bounce into this 180, at least for some type of relief move, right? After that aggressive drop. That's if Apple holds above 177. And the reason I like this trade, right? The reason I'm not scared to take this trade, right? It doesn't bother me if I'm in this trade is because I know exactly what has to happen for this to work. And I know exactly what will happen if I know exactly what will go wrong for me to lose and for me to take my loss. I'm not scared. In trading, you should not be scared of taking your loss. You should be scared of not knowing what the hell you're doing and what your plan is, right? So if I take this trade, I know with 100% certainty that it has to stay over 177. And if it does not, right? If it does not, then I'm not going to be in that. Then I know I'm going to, if it does not hold 177, then I know I take my loss, right? That's it. Trade's invalidated. We move on. That's the trade, right? So I'm not scared to take this trade because I have the game plan. The game plan's there, and all we have to do is execute it. Game plans aren't 100% certainty, but at least we have that plan. So if I start to see that 177 step up today, if I see a little bit of dance there, a little bit of demand step up, I'll look to long there, maybe on some 175 calls or maybe some 180 calls, depending on how aggressive I want to get, and just have a stop under 177. Maybe take like a $300-$400 loss if I'm wrong, and that's it. So that's something I'm watching today. We'll see what happens. If we break under 177, I'll also look for the short, though, right? I'll also look for the retest of 177 and the rejections of it. If we get weak today, I'll look for that as well. So either way, the 177 level on Apple is definitely something to be monitoring. Yeah, NASDAQ's jumpy, man. NASDAQ's jumpy. It's jumpy. That's nasty, right? That right there, right? There's nothing. This is the definition of price action that will mess you up, right? That is because you're trading in this, right? This is what I was talking about when I said if we start seeing this nasty action here, you got to be careful, right? On a real nice day, right, when we're here on the live streams and we're like, holy shit, that thing's moving, right? A nice clean day, nice clean price action, that's a bear flag, right? That leads to a beautiful, 30, 40, 50% scalp to the downside. That's good price action, right? This is not. This is go F yourself, and you better not be trading, right? Right? This is the stuff that messes you up, right? This is the stuff that messes you up. So you got to be quick on it. You got to be quick on it. You got to be quicker than that. That's why I'm just not involved in this, man. I just don't get involved in this because very few people are able to not get faked out in something like that. I mean, that's just fake out central, I mean, if you're not taking profits on like a 2-3 point scalp, bam, right back in your face. So tough stuff. Not going to say that's easy. It's not. It's tough stuff. All right. NVIDIA, not NASDAQ. So NVIDIA has earnings today. If you trade NVIDIA through earnings, best of luck, my friend. That's all I'll say. Let the odds forever be in your favor. It's a monster implied volatility, monster expected move, and you are going to need a major move here to make any type of money. The odds are 100% against you, okay? The odds are 100% weighed against you. It's almost like trading it's almost like jumping onto a electronic roulette table where it's not actually a wheel and a spin. It's actually just on the screen, right? That's about the odds that you're having here on this NVIDIA swing trade if you took earnings overnight. However, intraday, right, 453, you guys can see right here, 453. It's an interesting level there. You might be able to trade something off it today if you really need to trade NVIDIA today. If you really need to. 453, a little bit of an interesting level there this morning. You guys can see we did have a big breakout of that level. We pulled back to it. We held it, right? 453, 453. We held it pretty nice yesterday. So is there potentially something off this 453 level today? Maybe, right? Maybe. But if you get a move like this, right, you gotta remember, if you get a move, let's say you get a move like something like this, right? Let's say you get a little scalp here on NVIDIA, like this little bounce here. This move right here is not worth anything on high implied volatility contracts, right? It might make you maybe 10%, a little bit of a scalp, something. That's the concern there is here, right? The concern is even if you get a little move, it's not going to be enough to really get a contract moving in your favor. So I would stay away from NVIDIA. That's just going to be my recommendation for you guys today. For anyone buying options, right? There's other strategies that include selling options. I'm not getting into that, right? I'm not going to pretend like I know what the perfect thing to do is on NVIDIA options. That's not why I'm here. So you guys can run all the different strategies that you're interested in. I'm just here to tell you to be cautious, understand that there's high implied volatility, try my best to help some people avoid doing the stupid thing today, which is trade options through it, buy options through it. Maybe there's a big move that you maybe take advantage of, but the odds are heavily against you, and you are not going to be profitable long-term by YOLOing earnings plays, okay? It's not a strategy. Anyways, let's continue. AMD. I don't even want to look at AMD, to be honest, guys. I'm probably just going to skip this. I hate AMD right now. It's a disaster of a stock. 106 has been a big level, so maybe you can watch 106 here. 106 has been a major level, right? You can see previous lows, yesterday rejections. You're under 106 today. You might be able to watch 106 on the intraday, right? If you want to trade that thing. But this has just been a mess. And if you, let's just think about this, right? If you combined a mess of a chart with high implied volatility because of NVIDIA earnings, you get yourself a recipe for disaster. I'm going to stay away from AMD today. I don't think that's like something you sort of get yourself into today, right? I don't think. Let me reword this. Let me give you a little bit of an explanation here, right? Your every day in trading should be the same, right? Every day you step into the market, you should sort of keep the same mentality, the same strategy, the same idea of what you're trading, the same strategy, right? Everything should sort of stay the same. Now, if you walk into a day like today and you start changing what you're doing because of NVIDIA earnings, right? If you're like, hey, NVIDIA reports earnings tonight. I'm going to have the big idea of start trading semiconductors today, just because NVIDIA's reported earnings. Well, inherently, that means you are changing everything that you're doing. You're changing your strategy. You're changing your normal day-to-day. You're changing things about your trading, right? I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think you just step into today and start trading AMD, start trading NVIDIA, start trading Qualcomm, TSM. I don't think you do that because there's an event. There's the shiny object, which is NVIDIA earnings, right? Don't get sort of pulled away, right? I think that's what that happens to a lot of people. They sort of get sucked into the shiny object, whatever sort of what everyone's talking about, right? They sort of get sucked into it. And typically, there's some traps at the end of that road, right? There's some traps at the end of that road when you start getting sucked towards the shiny objects on the market. So just a little word of advice there, right? Don't let these, earnings start to suck you away from, what you normally do on a daily basis. Try to stick to what your normal game plan is. So, Meta, watching this one today, I sort of like this. This is an interesting watch for me. 290. 290 is interesting watch. You got a 290 rejection on Monday. You got a 290 rejection yesterday. And you have a 290 rejection in the pre-market today. So, if you get a little pop into 290 today, right, I'm going to look to see if there's a rejection play there. 290. If there's a move above 290, I'm going to look to see if that turns into support again. 290 is really the level I want to play off of. Now, if you break under yesterday's lows, then I'm interested to see if there's any downside continuation under yesterday's lows. However, I'm a little bit concerned of like this 285 area. I'm actually going to move that down to protect myself. So if we see, right, if we see maybe a little bit of a, a bear flag into this 290 here today, right, I'm going to look to see if I can play that. I'm going to watch this 290 today. That's something I'm going to be sort of monitoring intraday. Meta 290, seeing if there's rejections at that level. Google. Yeah, so yesterday we scalped Google to the upside. Congrats, guys, if you caught that one with me on the live trading yesterday. That was a really nice little live trade off of 129. So we got a nice 129 bounce yesterday. We talked about that 129, right? We knew 129 was that major demand. That was your demand here, and yesterday we held it again. So today, right, we're sort of holding above that 129 again, right? We're sort of holding above that 129 again. I think today, if you can see a hold over previous day high maybe, and a hold maybe above this 20 SMA, this 130 area, you might be able to get some upside continuation on Google. If you can see Google hold this 129, maybe try to regain this 20 SMA, I would watch the previous day highs, of course, right? You got to be careful there. Previous day highs, 131. I'd be careful up there. But if you can see maybe a break and hold above yesterday's highs, there might be some upside there. You could look for the previous day high rejection there. If you get a pop back down into 129, right, you could look for that demand hold. Either way, I'm interested to see what Google does here today. Watching that previous day high and understanding that over the last few weeks, man, Google has been a beast, right? This thing has not dropped at all. So 129 continues to be a level you could look to play off of. Keep an eye on that 129 today. Netflix back over 412. So you got Netflix, right, on the 4-hour chart. We wanted to see Netflix stay under 412. It did not. It got back above. So you have 412 here. You have 412 here. We reclaimed it. So what do you look for today? Today I'd be looking to see if Netflix can hold over 412. All right, if Netflix turns this 412 level back into a support, you might be able to look for a play off that level today. So I would be watching 412, looking to see if Netflix can turn that level into some kind of a short-term demand. That could be an interesting setup. I would look for maybe a move into here, right? Maybe into this 422 area, or potentially into this 430 area. Right, so 422, 430 are your next two supplies. Look to see if you can hold that 412. That would be something I monitor. What happens at 412 today on Netflix? Last one I got for you guys is Costco. This is a swing trade that you know we've been talking about pretty much every day. I continue to hold this trade. I got in short at the 550 rejection, so we're a nice 10-point lower since my entry. So this is looking good so far. I need to see it stay below this 540 level today. We did break below the 50 SMA, which is great. We did break below 540, which is great. We need to see this stay below 540 today. If Costco can regain 540, then we might see a little bit of a bounce on this thing. But if we can see Costco reject 540 and that 50 SMA here, I think you could see further downside. Right, next downside move, likely down towards this 530 area, and then you sort of have these previous highs here around this 525. So next move I'm looking for is possibly a rejection of 540, and then looking to see if we can get a move into that 530 area. That's probably where I'll start to take profits, towards that 530. But if you get back above this 540 level, then this probably starts to slow down on us a little bit. So 540, big watch on that Costco swing here today. What else is there? Amazon. I really don't have anything on Amazon. Amazon's been really stuck. You could see maybe a 137 rejection here on Amazon, right? A little bit of a break, little retest, and sort of just a slide back lower here off 137. I think that's very possible. I would continue to watch that 137 supply. UNH, I don't know, man. UNH is too slow to trade on a daily basis, my friend. I wouldn't be trading this. Look at this chart. Look. All right, this is not something you trade. Own it if you like it. That's all I got for you there. Did I miss anything? I mean, trying to think of any major names. We didn't look at Microsoft. Microsoft is sort of just chilling above that 320. So you guys can see here, it's a total chop fest here on Microsoft. You can see we got back above 320, but all right, look at this action yesterday. I'd be careful on this one. 20 SMA rejections, demand at 320, right? 320 demand, 328 supply, and you just sort of got a chop there. Nothing really going on. So biggest thing of the day, guys. Here we go. I'm going to recap the biggest important thing to be watching today, and then we're getting out of here. This is what you're watching today, right? You are playing protection in between this zone today. You are being cautious of the fake out moves, right? You do not want to be stuck in the move that you just witnessed on the futures this morning. So you need to be cautious of being short if we're above this 14,930, and you need to be cautious of being long if we're below this 15,016 level, okay? In between this zone, this is going to be nasty price action. Now, you either want to play that or you don't, and you just need to accept that if you do trade in between this zone, you are exposing yourself to the potential of this type of movement. So if you want to get a clean trade today to the downside, it is a break under 930 for downside. If you want to get a clean trade to the upside, I would probably want to see this 15,000 area become a strong demand. You just have to be careful of that downtrend, all right? So that's all I got for you today, guys. Just be cautious in this zone. Please understand Nvidia earnings is after hours, and there is a potential for some slow action today in anticipation of that Nvidia earnings. You also have PMI 15 minutes after open. So maybe you wait until 9:45 today to get active. If you guys could, as always, press that like button for me. Subscribe to the channel if you are new here. We do this every single day starting at 8 a.m. Press that like button. Try to get us to 1,000 likes. Subscribe if you guys could. If you appreciate the videos, appreciate the channel. I appreciate you for being here. Thank you for all the support as always. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Yeah. Peace.